you're making fun of a verse, now you're making fun of our community.
Yeah, I'm really not. I'm not going to make money.
Can you believe this guy?
Who let me on this
Yeah.
desk?
He's lucky he's so handsome or else we'd get him out of here.
Oh,
but
man.
we got the draft ready for Game 1 of Space Station Gaming versus YOUNGSUNG. This first ban going to be very, very important coming out of the side of YOUNGSUNG, and it's Paloma.
Okay. Paloma band's really interesting there. So, you know, it doesn't matter, man. Bloom can play whatever he wants. It's so difficult, but maybe just trying to force them into a specific play style here.
I really like the Bako ban too, Rare Peep being one of the best Bakos in North America, if not the best, so to get that out of there from SSG is a very smart decision. YOUNGSUNG leading the charge with an older in Space Station Gaming, giving Proster the Rook.
I like that.
I wonder if we might see an Ulrich ban, because Rook Ulrich, or not Rook Ulrich, but rather older Ulrich, known as a very strong duo, and the double support pretty strong in this current meta.
Yeah.
Could be interesting to see out of YOUNGSUNG. Space Station Gaming with the classic, the Rook Iva, an older ban out of YOUNGSUNG is possible here.
It definitely was maybe thinking Oldor, there it is, and then Rygon being blocked out for YOUNGSUNG.
Okay.
So maybe you see a...
I do like the Rygon ban instead of the Ulrich ban. Older Ulrich pretty countered by the Iva. Just the cleanses on the taser so good against what Ulrich wants to do, especially when he goes in. And YOUNGSUNG not having a melee to play with the Ulrich. So Space Station Gaming doing a good job recognizing that Ulrich pick was unlikely, banning out the Rygon instead. And the Thorn is going to be our last pick, and we get to see a Bloom Lucy.
Bloom, Lucy, that's your favorite. I just love whenever Lucy's on the board.
I like Lucy.
When Lucy goes on the board, ITF just his eyes widen a little bit, and he feels really good. I was actually thinking that Thorn might get picked up after the Rygon ban, and we do see it here. And I like the way Thorn plays with Jumong, especially just because Jumong has the ability to just sit so far back, and Thorn has just his frontline capability is so good, and just, you know, peeling, and Jumong just does so much damage from so far away. It can be hard to try to, you know, box them out. Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to see how this Iva Lucy is going to work out. It's a very, very cleanse-heavy comp coming out of SSG, which is very good against the Thorn and the Jumong. Yeah. Lucy going to do a good job of helping Rook get out of the bad situation Jumong's is going to put him in. So whether or not this works out for Space Station Gaming, going to be what I'm looking for. I'm excited. I'm just excited. That's it. You're just excited? I'm excited. That's it? No, I'm leaving it. Why are you excited? What's cool about this, Jorby? It's pop quiz time. Pop quiz time. Yeah, why am I excited? I like Space Station's comp for all the reasons that you mentioned, but also just because I love the aggressiveness that it kind of lends to. You know, just Rook in general, you can just get aggressive with because it's Rook. You know, I love that style of play, and I love Iva. I think Iva is right now still the best range character. She's very good, yeah. I think probably between her and Jumong, I think for the best range characters, and all of her cleanse ability. You hit it on the head, ITF. I can't say any more than you said already. I'm making your life so hard. I'm like, hey, why are you excited? You hit me with all the analysis. I covered. I'm like, let me just repeat everything ITF just said, because he covered everything. and the fact that you are still able to talk just speaks volumes to how good of a broadcaster you are. But Mount Araz Day is where we're at. Pretty neutral map for both sides. Not a lot of walls for the Rook to get easy end caps on. Not like an Ormond Knight, though there are still angles at which he can find those end caps. The Rook might have a harder time here than he would elsewhere. It can be difficult, especially if you do not land a rush, can put you in a bad spot. So you got to be careful with how you pop your abilities, but we're already underway here. YOUNGSUNG playing so defensively early on, Jorby. Yeah, well, it was immediately pushed up by Proster. He tried to get aggressive right away, and he's going in again, trying to get more action there onto Jumong, actually pushing them all back. So Space Station right now already early mid control. They're going to confirm that first orb. Yeah, Space Station do get the first orb. Rare Peep tried to get it with the pull, but it didn't end up working out. An in cap up top on the Older is going to allow Proster to find some pressure, but he's going to have to charge out as the Rain of Arrows not letting him continue to aggress. So YOUNGSUNG still struggling to try to get in here, and Proster is trying not to let Oldor get through, and then a huge snipe hit by Jumong. Yeah, the Jumong getting a nice Dragon Slayer there, but the Rook is getting so much damage onto him. This is a pretty big window for YOUNGSUNG to punish this Rook, and they do. The counter's not procced either, Jorby, which is going to cause the barrier to come out. But Proster does make it out alive. Oh man, Proster making it out, Bloom giving him the shield, and then he had the rush to get away. And he wants more of it, but he ran right into Oldor. Yeah, this next orb spawning in just a couple seconds. We'll see if YOUNGSUNG's able to get it. Pull, not going to land onto the Lucy, but on the other side, YOUNGSUNG getting aggressive on by the Rook, but inevitably the Rain of Arrows going to finish off the Hungering Berserker. Yeah, sorry, Proster, that's not going to proc your counter, and he goes down. And so YOUNGSUNG, while getting pushed back, you kind of expect that with the comp that they have, is that kind of you have to let Rook push forward because he's going to push forward, and then just try to capitalize on either a misposition or a whiff.
Yeah, definitely, and I really like the way they did that. They understood that the Rook wanted to go in and that he would be able to because Lucy was backing him up as well as Iva. YOUNGSUNG, they just backed up into the spawn, be it their own or Space Station Gaming's, as we saw later on in that round, and they just punished the Rook when he went in. And eventually, they had enough damage and there wasn't a barrier or there wasn't a zap to help out the Rook, and they managed to find the kill onto Proster, which set them up for that round win.
Well, one of the things Space Station Gaming is so good at is mid-game adjustments within the game itself, being able to adjust and come back. We've seen them go down in early rounds before and then just completely roll through the rest. So they're definitely not even close out of it.
Yeah, definitely not. Proster down bottom does manage to make it out while getting a decent amount of damage onto Ninjas. We see those 3 weapon charges and the double rain of arrows going to get dropped. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Rook getting chunked in the older ultimate, or not the older ultimate, rather.
Oh, he does try to get the double stun there, but Barb Tusk was available for Thorn, having to back out of it. They just want to bully Proster out of this.
Dude, Proster's having a really hard time. The barrier's used, he's eating, and still he's taking massive chunks of damage, and now starts to come out onto the Thorn, but Rare Peep with that burrow does manage to make it out. A beautiful zap from Reverse going to cleanse off that entangling roots, and Space Station Gaming have complete center control.
Space Station. Oh, no, the YOUNGSUNG threw it in. The quicksand did confirm it. Shield coming out again for Proster. He wants to find a way in. It's just blocked out. Now almost finding some sort of room there, but nothing.
Almost on that ultimate. He's going to use the Bard Pass though, put himself a little bit further away in the name of protection. And man, he just gets chunked down pretty hard there. Has to burrow just to avoid the deadly inject damage. Great punish onto Rare Peep.
Proster wanted to keep aggressing onto it, but then got peeled away from the rest of YOUNGSUNG. So trying to capitalize on those low cooldowns and just not able to pull through just yet. But they are putting more pressure onto YOUNGSUNG here. And Adverse trying to get these double stuns on the track. It just hasn't been successful and then got deleted. The Dead Roots came out and took Bloom out.
Yeah, beautiful play from YOUNGSUNG. Lucy had to both barrier and clarity potion herself, which left her wide open. We'll see if Rare Peep goes down here. Proster, he's trying to find the kill, but it looks like Rare Peep's going to be okay. The Dragon Slayer going to get negated by that tractor beam, but Adverse is still dead, and Proster left in this 1v3 with no energy. No place in that round.
It's really tough right now for Space Station Gaming. They don't have any kind of follow-up, and it's really tough. They've been boxed out of every opportunity. They tried to aggress, and they've been shut down pretty much every time. Yeah. It's hard. Like Jumong has done a great job of just kind of zoning the rest of the team out when Proster goes in, and then obviously Rare Peep doing a great job of kind of negating the effect that Rook is having on the game.
Definitely. You mentioned Ninjas, and that's exactly where I was going to go with this analysis. He's been playing so incredibly well, understanding that letting himself be hit by that first Rook charge is acceptable, and even though the openings aren't going that well for the Jumong, he's still managing to stay relevant.
We'll see a lot of big damage.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to this round, as it's already started out so bad for him.
Oh, he wants to go all in on it. He's getting tons of damage onto Ninjas. He's struggling a lot this round. Finally gets entangled out by Rare Peep to try to bail him out, but he's going to keep up the pressure, and he is just getting so much smacked in the face. The ult going to get the kill, and Proster has had enough.
Welcome to the Proster show. Proster absolutely demolishes the Jumong early on in this round, and Ninja's not able to slip away as he was in the rounds prior. The Rook did a beautiful job getting a boulder into a charge, finding the right angle to continue that aggression and just keep comboing the Jumong. And before Ninjas could even get a full bar of energy, he was dead, Jorby.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so tough. You said it was funny because right before the round started, you're like, yeah, Ninjas can take the first rush. Yeah. He can't take the rock and the rush at the same time, though.
Yeah, he just got bopped that round. That is what you don't want to have happen. That's what it looks like when the Rook gets too good a start.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
Wasn't able to kite away, and Proster just got all the energy in the world, even letting an ultimate rip before the first orb was taken. Not a great look for YOUNGSUNG.
Putting pressure onto Rare Peep. Proster just wants to keep attacking here. Now they get pulled. A great pull them out. And the rain of arrows is doing a ton of damage over to Adverse. Finally gets out, but YOUNGSUNG getting some early damage.
I love the way YOUNGSUNG is playing. Just staying behind their choke, trying to get massive chunks of damage onto the enemy. They're going to get this orb too. Yeah, great pull from Rare Peep. You mentioned it.
YOUNGSUNG controlling the map, have a lot of energy on the board now. Proster, again, we saw this in the first 2 rounds, struggling to find a way in, just blocked out and entangled. He wants to go in on Ninjas. Can't find it.
Oh. If Rook is going to eat all this damage, M2 is forced out, but he's still just getting ruined by the Dead Roots. However, a double in cap is going to turn the tide for Space Station Gaming, and they back out to mid to get the orb while Rook is trying to go in. The pole going to actually secure for YOUNGSUNG. I thought for sure SSG would get that orb.
Yeah, YOUNGSUNG get that orb, and that's pretty huge for them after the amount of damage that Ninjas took away from Proster, who turned it around for Space Station. Keep the pressure up. Does he get the stun here? It'd be big, but he does get away. The goo comes out to try to zone them out, and they want to aggress here on the top side. Coming in, they're closing right in on to Ninjas. Ninjas in a little bit of trouble. The ult's going to come, and he's going to go down. And YOUNGSUNG struggling right now against Space Station.
Yeah, that EX space from Rare Peep was used to try to get YOUNGSUNG back together. Jeter found himself quite far away from Ninjas, but at the end of the day, using that EX space is going to cost Ninjas his life, as it wasn't available later on. In general, YOUNGSUNG just getting very split here.
Dead Roots coming out just to try to block out Bloom, trying to get a kill, but YOUNGSUNG struggling here. Tough in any kind of situation to 2v3, especially with this much health on the side of Space Station, and getting the tractor beam stun and finishing off Oldor is going to do it for Space Station to tie this map up.
Yeah, this looked really good for YOUNGSUNG early on, too. We saw that older ultimate with the Dead Roots, but what this really came down to was Proster saving his iframes for an appropriate time. Proster held on to his M2 for so long and used it just at the right time when Older was about to land the combo that inevitably would have taken his life, and he managed to make it out okay because of it. And even though SSG weren't able to secure any orbs early on in this round, the amount of damage they were able to put out made it okay that they were behind in that energy and HP.
And I like the way that, like you mentioned at the beginning of the round, YOUNGSUNG's defensive strategy works early on, but as soon as Space Station's able to break through that wall and they have an opening, it's so tough, especially because Proster's landing everything right now, and it's really difficult for YOUNGSUNG to do anything off of it. All the defensive cooldowns get popped early, and then Space Station can just aggress and do massive damage.
Taser coming out here first, keeping YOUNGSUNG back in that little choke. Space Station Gaming, they are going to focus this orb too. A double in cap comes out, but the taser's not going to land on anybody. YOUNGSUNG, however, cannot handle this aggression.
Yeah, Proster is just going off right now here, causing a ton of havoc. The Rain of Arrows is going to do some damage to him, but he is just going to stay in. Both Averse and Bloom tried to turn right onto Ninjas. Didn't get a lot done, though. He was able to zone both of them out.
Yeah, Ninjas did a great job not taking any damage there, which was very important. We'll see if they get this orb. They don't actually, as the machine gun from Averse secures it for SSG. This is a great start for the red team, Jorby.
Yeah, the ult confirmed, just stealing that away. It could have been big for YOUNGSUNG. We are sitting on an ult for Oldor. Time travel is available if he wants it, and Proster's going to go in on this, hitting the ult? Oh, he's gonna ult here and then getting away. Not gonna get a ton of value out of that, but pulling it back in Averse. The time travel comes in. Where's he gonna go? Just bails him out.
Yeah, that Petrify from long distance was huge. We'll see who's able to get this orb. YOUNGSUNG actually get this one, but Ninjas cannot handle this flamethrower. Averse and Proster just running down the Jumong, and they find the kill.
Man, poor Ninjas. He has been getting abused in this game. Ever since round 3 started, they have not let up on him at all. And Space Station Gaming, here we go. The first 2 rounds went to YOUNGSUNG. They looked strong, but then adjusting with Space Station, and they've taken 3 straight.
I'm pretty sure we just jinxed him.
Maybe.
We were like, Ninjas is doing so well.
And then,
and now he's just getting like ran at by Proster, and it's definitely going more in favor of the Rook ever since round 3, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ninja's going to have to play a lot more carefully and not hit those counters that he was hitting early on. He hit like 1 or 2 counters that enabled the Rook to get out of a bad situation. You know, the round might have looked different had he not.
It's funny sometimes when you have a game that is in-depth as Battlerite, when it comes down to why a team lost a game, and sometimes it's the simplest things, man.
Yeah.
Don't hit his counter.
Just don't hit the counter.
Don't hit the counter.
Yeah.
It can be so difficult. So Space Station wants to continue rolling here. Proster, that got the zap, but
I like that CC chain.
Yeah.
Not letting Proster get that successful start early on. The nice taser going to ensure that Rare Peep can't help his allies here. And, the train's rolling now. Proster, he's made it into the back line.
Rare Peep also trying to zone out both Averse and Bloom to not give any kind of support to Proster, but Proster does get the zap onto him. Rain of Arrow's going to do a little bit of damage, and he gets out of it. And now Averse getting turned on. He's in a little bit of trouble, trying to go right in on him at Oldor. He does have that ult available, but he gets away.
That EX space was huge from Rare Peep, too, getting the Jumong out of a bad situation. But, man, he needs that space to get himself out of the situation now as the damage is starting to rack up.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage there. Space Station does only have a slight advantage. That orb is huge for them, though, as that just puts up the counters even more, especially on the energy side.
Oh, that counter was so close to being hit, but it was not. The tractor beam stun going to land on Rare Peep. YOUNGSUNG, they find themselves out of mid once again. Jeter gonna use that Petrify to slow down the Rook, but they don't have much momentum here.
And YOUNGSUNG tried to take control of mid, and Space Station just rotated back to the top. It's like, yeah, now you're over on the right side. Yeah, good try.
Yeah, the ultimate from Rook gonna come out. That iframe doing a little bit for the damage, but not much damage is gonna come out from him. Older ultimate gonna land onto Iva. So many shields though.
A lot of shields popped, and Space Station just gonna regroup and want to get this next orb. Just roll right through them again. Averse. Looked like they might have gone on him, but it's turned right back onto Rare Peep. Rare Peep trying to get back, and Proster just wants to go in on it. In cap onto Rare Peep, and then the big ult hits Averse, but no follow-up available.
Yeah, that Dragon Slayer was really big from Ninjas, actually. The machine gun was coming out from Averse, and so much damage would have been put onto the Thorn had it not been canceled. And now Averse actually finds himself in a bit of trouble here, Jorby.
Oh, the shield comes out to try to buy him some more time. That's a lot of damage absorbed, but it's gone now. Machine gun is available. On the
my
side.
God.
Bloom is in trouble, a ton of damage. The ult's gonna come out, and the machine gun gonna do a ton of damage. Ninjas is low. Bloom goes down. Now Averse is super low. They gotta get a trade here, otherwise Space Station gonna drop this game. And Iva goes down, Averse is out, and YOUNGSUNG back in it.
That's the YOUNGSUNG I expected to see. The coordination there was beautiful. In the blink of an eye, not Averse, but rather Bloom just got melted. You and I both pointed it out. He just took so much damage so quickly, and he had to roll, he had to barrier, he had to clarity potion, and after that, it was just like a rain of arrows. Like a rain of arrows was all it took to keep up the pressure, and Bloom couldn't make it out alive.
It was really tough, and in the early rounds of that, I just want to, Ninjas, you got it back.
Yeah, good job, Ninjas.
Yeah, he was able to fight back and actually did a ton of damage. The Rain of Arrows and the traps getting a ton of value, and then the Dragon Slayer, like you pointed out, interrupting the machine gun early on, that could have been really deadly against YOUNGSUNG.
This round is looking a lot like round 3 and 4 when Rare Peep was forced back early on, using his burrow very defensively here. The taser's coming out too.
Wow.
This is not a great start for YOUNGSUNG.
Yeah, he's got to burrow out, and he's still in trouble. The Tractor Beam's going to come out. They're going to do a ton of damage to him. He has no out here for a few more seconds. And then Proster realizing what he can do, he just goes in the back line, wants to wreak havoc onto Ninjas.
Yeah, a lot of damage was put onto the Thorn there, and on the flip side, Proster took next to none. YOUNGSUNG, oh my God, this double, yeah, the double in cap, but the EX space from the Thorn is going to help Jeter get out of that bad situation, but still, YOUNGSUNG, they just can't find their footing.
It's really tough right now, and trying to isolate somebody. Time travel coming out on the backside onto Bloom, but is back, and then the ult popping out from Proster. Whoops.
Oh, wow, Averse is actually starting to take quite a lot of damage, Jorby.
Yeah, and then the shield coming out from Bloom to get him out of there, and the zap as well, so a lot popped to keep Averse alive. Proster gonna go in, just buy time for cooldowns to reset here for Space Station Gaming, doing actually a ton of work here, and just gonna go straight in on Ninjas.
Ninjas made a couple mistakes here that might cost them this round. He missed 2 EXM2s in a row. The double Petrify from Bloom is going to secure a free orb for SSG, and once again, it's looking like the red team in a pretty dominant position.
Oh, he tries to rush in on it, doesn't have anything there. Averse, a little low here. He has to kind of stay back. He can't really aggress too much. And they're trying to rotate back, or YOUNGSUNG trying to rotate back to mid to get this next orb, which they definitely want. Time travel is available for Old Door, and a lot of energy being built up if they get this orb right here. But Averse actually gets rocked by Rare Peep.
Yeah, Rare Peep just mans up as the best range hero in the game with that EXM2 and gets so much damage onto Averse so quickly. He just gets absolutely eviscerated, trying to man up against that Thorn. And now Rookie's trying to do what he can. So many abilities used here by Ninjas. He might go down, actually. So much being committed onto Ninjas here. The Barbed Husk even, but he still dies to that tick of sudden death. He canceled the Barbed Husk at the same second that the sudden death ticked, and we're now in a 2v2.
Feels bad if you're YOUNGSUNG, as that trade is going to keep Space Station in the game. Now going right on the Old Door, the Dead Roots, did it confirm the orb? I don't think it did. I think Space Station did get it.
Dude.
Oh, Lucy, she does get out of it, barely. Bloom staying alive, and now Proster just trying to be the front line, bullying Old Door. Old Door wants the kill onto Bloom. Bloom goes down, and now Proster in a real bad spot. The time travel gonna get the stun, and the counter not gonna be hit. YOUNGSUNG takes it to game point.
It was so fun watching Rare Peep there because I could feel his emotions through his play. He used that burrow in. He was like about to go in onto the Rook. He was like, no, I can't. I'm scared. I'm too low. He immediately backed out. But you know who wasn't scared? Jeter. Jeter just spaces in at the end to go for the kill on Bloom, and he gets it, forcing that 2v1 situation, which is inevitably so hard for the Rook. Great play from Jeter, recognizing that he could get that kill onto Bloom's Lucy.
So this is it for Space Station, at least for map 1. You gotta be able to win both here. YOUNGSUNG only need one more to take this first map. They have it's been a little up and down, but at the end they've taken it this far.
Rare Peep holding onto his burrow much longer than he did in rounds prior, and I like that quite a lot. Yeah, he finally does burrow. Oh, nice rain of arrows, too. This is a great start for YOUNGSUNG, Jorby.
A lot of early damage onto Proster.
Oh my god.
But then a lot of damage onto Averse on the backside, turning right onto Rare Peep. They're trying to trade for damage. They do get it, and they get the orb.
Averse is so dead, dude. The barrier is going to be used on him. The pole is going to miss, which might be a saving grace. Oh god, the Rook ultimate coming out, getting a little bit of damage onto YOUNGSUNG, but Averse is so low.
Yeah, and then the Rain of Arrows is gonna block Proster out. Averse can't really, he has to pick and choose his fights right now. It's really difficult for him to go in. He does have a lot of energy. Ult is available if he wants it. The Tractor Beam, does he find the double stun? He gets one, but time travel is available right on the Bloom. Bloom, the big stun.
Oh my god.
And a lot of damage coming out. Bloom's in trouble now and separated from his team. Averse and Proster can't get back to Bloom. Bloom caught out of the fight for a while there. Huge for YOUNGSUNG, but they did get the orb.
Yeah, they did get the orb. Ninjas, he tried to take a trade with the Rook, but didn't have the Prowl available, so he ended up taking so much damage, and that's equalized the round for Space Station Gaming here, Jorby. YOUNGSUNG and Space Station Gaming both can take this round, but Bloom, he's found himself out of position.
Yeah, Bloom in a lot of trouble here. The double chop going to keep him stuck. Rare People wants to go in on it. The time travel's going to try to get him. Not going to get the stun onto Bloom, so he does survive for now, but it is really tough right now. Averse now in trouble. They're going to go all in on him. The Tractor Beam going to keep him alive for a little bit. Somehow he's still alive back here. The shield was popped on him. He finally gets away. Proster's just sitting here battling against Ninja.
Oh, that
Can't
pull.
go and support him. He pulls him back. Doesn't get the kill on it. Somehow keeps him down. Jeter in a little bit of trouble on the backside. Ninja's in trouble against Proster.
Yeah, Ninjas, he does get these great shards, but he doesn't have that Prowl available. He's so low. The meat throw, but the Prowl is finally up, and oh my god, this could not be any closer.
Oh, I thought he had him.
Sudden Death is coming in. EXM2 going to be thrown out by the Thorn to try to get any of that burst damage in. And speaking of burst damage, Thorn taking quite a huge bit of it here. And the older ultimate from Jeter going onto Lucy up top. The barrier's used and Ninjas actually falls.
Wow.
Thorn is going to go down too. This machine gun from Averse was huge.
Flipped at a second. Space Station Gaming popped everything that they had. Bloom got stunned, but had the barrier available, like you said, and then it was just Machine Gun City for Averse, and he just annihilated YOUNGSUNG.
And that's the sign of a great player, right? Averse found himself with next to no HP early on, down to a third max recoverable, and he still had a huge impact on that round, ultimately using the ability that cleaned it up for his team. Really great play from Averse here, to understand what he could get away with and when he should use his abilities.
Really difficult too, because there were several times where Space Station was kind of split up and had to try to regroup, and it was very awkward for them for a while, but they did make it work. And into this next round, this is what we expected out of this matchup. We're on round 9.
Round 9. See who's able to take it. The Entangling Root's going to ruin that charge from the Rook.
I would find a lot of value there. Tractor Beam going to try to find a stun. The rush almost trying to confirm it, but the burrow is popped. Pulled back in, trying to find Proster. A lot of damage, huge for Jeter, and Rare Peep getting a ton of damage on to Proster, and that's going to be big for YOUNGSUNG.
Yeah, you got to chunk the Rook so he can't get in, and that's exactly what YOUNGSUNG did this round. The Deadly Inject is going to come out, and Ninja's down bottom eats a charge from the Rook. The counter and Zap have both been used. This is a weak point for the Rook, and he might just get ruined here.
The barrier comes out. Goodbye!
That burst was huge. The barrier was used, the Zap was used just prior, and still Proster could not make it out alive. He will fall, and putting Space Station Gaming in a 2v3 situation, they're going to have to really perform to take this round.
Yeah, this is big for YOUNGSUNG, taking this first map, giving a little bit of comfort room if they can get the kill onto Bloom here. Bloom trying to stay alive. Rain of Arrows pretty much going to confirm the kill on the Entangle. He's going to go down, and YOUNGSUNG started strong, had a little bit of a shaky middle road, and then finished strong here. It went all 9, though. That was close.
Yeah, what a good game, and that's what we wanted out of this game. Like you mentioned, out of this match, rather, we got the bloodbath we were expecting.
This is exactly what we thought this would be,
for sure. A very back-and-forth affair, but YOUNGSUNG are going to take game 1, really showing that it's not Season 1 anymore. They're not just going to get 15-0'd by Space Station Gaming in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're here to fight.
Absolutely. A lot has changed between Season 1 and Season 2, and that includes the